when I'm thinking about how to solve a particular problem, I can think about it for days and weeks and nothing will happen. And then, someday when I'm cutting the grass or I'm having a hamburger or I wake up in the middle of the night, the idea will be there. I think it would be egotistical of me to say I thought of it. What happened is I opened my mind up and the idea came through me and into my head. These ideas, I don't have to dig up anything. Sometimes I don't even have to be thinking about them. And there they are. It's something between discovering and witnessing.
Nice way to open the show, remembering basically the man who gave us all the good reason to be here doing what we do with all of this stuff. I know he didn't invent it all, but he pretty much made it good for all of us. So happy birthday yesterday to Dr. Robert Arthur Moog, and we'll have some Moog related stuff a little bit later in the show. Welcome, good evening. Sorry we're late. We got carried away talking as old men do, and so we're a little bit late, but I'm sure we'll run over, so you'll still get your 2 hours worth. But welcome to the show, and it is episode 216 on Friday the 24th of May 2024. This time last week, where was I? I was in Berlin. And what was I doing on the Friday? Oh, I know what I was doing on the Friday night. I'll tell you a little bit about that later, as much as I can, because I want to dispel some absolute tosh that is flying around on Tinternet, as much as I'm allowed to. So we'll see what we can do. Anyway, yes, last week I was in Superbooth, and we're going to be covering pretty much all of that throughout the rest of the show. I've got some pictures to show you. I might even be able to sort of run a little bit of video footage that I took that I'll be making available shortly. And we'll talk about some of the stuff we saw there and our thoughts about it. There's a teensy bit of news because obviously everybody had a big news movement on like the Tuesday before Superbooth. And so a lot of the stuff we now know is out there, and there's not a lot of new news to talk about. But we do have some things, and we have a super special announcement, which we're going to keep you on tenterhooks just for a little while longer, just so you don't sort of go, oh, that's what it was, and then bugger off again. So we got some new news, some very exciting news. So do please stay tuned for that, because I am pretty sure every single one of you will like it. So there you go. Anyway, housekeeping, let's get this done and out of the way. First of all, if you like us, give us a thumbs up. If you don't, give us a thumbs down. It's entirely up to you. We don't worry. Well, we do worry, but it's up to you. Comment if you will. If you're watching on catch up, stick it down in the comments underneath the video. Of course, you're watching on YouTube, you can stick it over there or wherever your chat box is nowadays. If you're watching on Twitch or Twitter or Facebook, you can comment on there, and we see that all here, and we can share those comments around. And of course, if you are watching on YouTube, please give us a subscribe. That would be very, very nice, and ring that bell just to make sure you get notified of everything that we do, because we occasionally do impromptu things. So yeah, do that. That would be fantastic. If you want to support the show, then you can do that in a number of ways. The best way, I think, now is patreon.com /ProSynth Network, where you can sign up for a minimum $2 a month donation. That will get you access to everything that we've put up there. And there's some really great free stuff, courtesy of wonderful people like James Dyson and Mark Barnes and various other people who've donated patches and images and all that kind of stuff. And I'm thinking that we might put the Superbooth walk around video on there exclusively for a limited time, and then we'll throw it up onto the YouTube channel for everyone. Of course, the other way you can support us is through YouTube, through Super Chat and Super Stickers, which you can do just underneath the chat thing there. Or if you're watching on catch up, you can hit the thanks button that's underneath the video. Any donation, no matter how big or small, is most welcome, and it helps keep us on the air and pays all the bills, which is great. So thank you in advance, and thank you to everyone that has donated in the past. That's fantastic. I was about to itch my ear, and I started itching my headphone. Does anybody else do that? You get an itch on the ear, and you just... Why isn't that working? Oh, because it's my headphone. Anyway, also catch us on social media. We're all over that. I say we're all over it. We've got accounts there, but I think we generally focus on Facebook. Yeah, apparently Facebook is for old people, so my kids tell me, and most of us are quite old. So I guess
very old.
If you have a question during the show about anything that we're talking about, do let us pick that out easily by sticking a big capital Q in front of it, because that helps us with our aging eyesight. That'll be fantastic. So yeah, stick a big capital Q. You have a comment or a question about any of the topics we're going to be covering tonight, most of which are going to be Superbooth related. My heart is still in Berlin. My head is somewhere in between, and my body is about to be in hospital, I think, because I walked miles. I mean, literally miles. It was exhausting. Anyway, whilst I was away, these two lovely gentlemen kept the whole thing going. A huge thanks to them. Let's go to Andrew first of all. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm really good. Had a great week.
Excellent. Are you feeling better? Because I think the last time we spoke, you weren't too chipper.
No, I wasn't too chipper. I had that lurgy that's been going around and catching everyone for about a week or so, or 10 days or 2 weeks or whatever. But no, I'm feeling really chipper today. Went out, did some filming. I was filming someone that was 102 years old earlier today.
Wow.
So
did they know
your little sister says hello, Kent. Oh, and a really good an absolutely brilliant pal of mine, Nikki McGuinness, is watching the show tonight, I believe, so I've got to give her a shout out, and her studio, Creation X, which is based in Wokingham. Look her up. She's a great engineer, lovely person. She'll do you a deal and all that stuff. But Nikki. she's watching the show, and she's I'm hoping she's going to enjoy it.
Good, excellent. Good stuff. And of course the other reprobate there who's just sipping, that isn't coffee really, is it? Let's be honest.
Go away, I'm trying to enjoy my coffee.
Trying to.
Yeah.
How are you, sir?
Yeah, good.
Perpendicular.
What did I do? Oh, I got rid of a very troublesome stool today.
Okay.
Yeah. Righty-ho.
And I've replaced it with a much better one that's on wheels. Yeah, see, you would, dirty-minded bugger.
Well, we can never tell, really.
Well, no, that's true.
Yeah, indeed.
Wouldn't be the first time there's been one in the kitchen either.
Oh,
yeah,
enough.
Let's not go there.
Let's not go there. Oh dear. There we go. Let's all go freeze up. There we go. Welcome to everybody that is watching in the chat and stuff. I'm not going to name you all because there's so many of you. Welcome. It's great to have you along. If you were at Superbooth last week, I hope you had a fantastic time. If you came and said hello, and I possibly won't remember everyone, but there was lots of people that came and said hi, and so they really enjoyed the show. So thank you. That's what makes these things. For me, it's all about the people in the community first. Then beer is probably the next thing, although the beer this year was pretty awful. It was just Carlsberg on tap in Germany. In Germany.
What?
Like, some of the greatest beers in the world, and they had Carlsberg on tap. But you drink what you can get, so that's what it was. What they didn't tell us, or they didn't make clear, was that when they were charging us for so it's not a pint of beer, it's 500 ml, because we're in Europe, so it's 500 ml of beer, and they were charging €7.50. But what they didn't tell us that €3 of that was a refundable deposit if you brought the plastic cup back. And they didn't tell us that. And I lost count of how many glasses or plastic glasses of beer I drank and then just chucked the cup in the bin. Yeah.
So what you're saying is everyone's got to give especially large amounts to us this week to pay for your beer bill in Berlin. Is that right?
Yeah, pretty much. Actually, okay. I pay for most of my beer out of my own pocket because I
should
don't
have drunk coffee.
Yeah, I should have done. Last year, the bars were proper bars. Like, they didn't just have beer and a few little alcopop things. They had spirits and everything. It was proper bar. But this year they changed, and it wasn't great. But there you go. We're not there to get absolutely hammered, although some people were. It was very good and highly enjoyable. And the food queues were terrible, even worse than last year, especially when and Manny will tell you this. Manny and I queued up. He went for the vegetarian gyros, and I went for the Japanese pancakes. And when Manny realised that his was a vegetarian line, he hopped over to our line, and of course by doing that he invoked that ancient law that when you swap lines, the line you go into ends up being the slowest moving line, and he did that to us. Helped along, of course, by the fact that the electricity went to that particular van. Everything else was fine, but that particular van lost its electricity, so we were there for about an hour and a half.
That's what happens when you go after the gyros too. See what I did there?
Yeah. So
now you can clean it up.
But we were determined, and we got our pancakes, and there was no actual pancake in the traditional sense. It was all kind of vegetables and stuff. Anyway, good stuff. Right, let's crack on, I think, because we haven't got a lot of time, 2 hours. Don't forget, everyone, if you hang around, we have some really exciting news. So do stick around. Otherwise the Penguin of Death will come and sort you out. Do stick around, please, because you are going to like this a lot.
Are they going to lose their shit?
Sorry, what?
Are they going to lose their shit?
Yeah, I think so, collectively.
Good. Yeah, I think they are.
Could get rather smelly. So I don't really know. Let's start with some of the news, and then we can just wade into the whole Superbooth thing. So we're going to kick off. Honestly, I don't think anybody in Grenoble is sleeping at the moment, because it seems like every week or so they're throwing something new out into the world, and this, of course, is Arturia, who, aside from announcing that thing last week, the PolyBrute 12, which we can talk about later if you want to.
Yes, please.
Just the other day, they announced this, the MiniBrute V, which is their first ever analog synthesizer that they made, but this is a software version of it, and it's incredibly good. It's actually 8-voice polyphonic. It has the Steiner-Parker filter. It has all of the features of the hardware, but in software. And it's currently, your price will vary. Mine is €69. Yours might be 99, depending on what you own, but it won't be any more than 99 because it's on offer. And then when it's not on offer, it's going to be 199. And I'm sure this will end up in V Collection in the next iteration of it. But by heck, this is a beautiful little synthesizer, especially now that it's polyphonic. It's just really, really good. It's got one oscillator, but what it does with that one oscillator is just superb. And that whole Steiner-Parker filter thing gives it a completely different sort of edge to it than maybe a traditional sort of filter. But yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. And one of us has got the hardware, and I'm going to go to him first. Have you had a chance to listen to this or try this and maybe give it a comparison, Kent Spong?
No.
Okay.
But I listened to you playing yours last night on the pub,
oh, yes.
And it sounded lovely.
Mm.
Now, what you got to remember is, for the last years,
yes,
I've been using mine to load SysX and test MIDI kits, so it hasn't actually been plugged into speakers. It's been a sort of like a remote. But when I had it in the studio and I used to use it, loved it.
Yeah,
I loved it.
It's got a big fan base. I mean, it originally came out in 2012, and it was at a time when this whole analog revival, the virtual analog thing had been going on for a while, but actual analog stuff was all a bit sort of a much of a muchness. Then Arturia had the audacity to come out with this, their first hardware synth, and I remember at the time thinking, Arturia doing a hardware synth. Get back in your lane, Frenchie. But then you heard it. But then you heard it, and it was like, oh wow, this actually sounds great. And then now to have it as a piece of software. I know some people sort of went Arturia doing software clones of their own hardware. Yeah, why not? This is great. I mean, and the great thing about this is that it's 8-voice polyphonic, so it's that Brute oscillator in 8-voice polyphony. Does that mean that we might see other Brute oscillator-based instruments coming soon to a V collection near you?
Could happen.
Could happen. Yes, and thank you, Robert, for pointing out that the Origin was Arturia's first hardware synth, but this was their first analog synth.
I'd forgotten about the Origin.
So have Arturia. Quite conveniently, it kind of came and went rather quickly, which is unfortunate because it was a remarkable thing. So I get that. Yeah, absolutely. Your thoughts, Andrew?
I had a quick look. My first ever synth, I built a Transcendent 2000 from the magazine article Electronic Musician. Bought the kit, soldered it, broke it, gave it to someone that was competent. They got it working, and I loved it. Single oscillator, and I just loved the idea of that, of having to really push everything to get the sounds you want. Put it through distortion and echoes and all sorts of other things. Pulse width modulation. This reminds me sort of that love, of that desire. There's a single oscillator, but it's got the 3 waveforms, and each of those waveforms, the sawtooth you can ultra saw, so you can waggle it and do all sorts of things. You can do pulse width on the square, and there's a metallizer for the triangular, and you just end up with the maddest sounds, and you can modulate them with the envelopes or with any of both of the LFOs, either of the LFOs. It's got a sub as well, and the sub you can do weird and wonderful things with. It's a beast. It's an absolute beast. I love the sound of it. I really, really like the sound of it. So well done them. Absolutely. And rather them than someone else that shall remain nameless at the moment, trying to do something really awful. They've done a great job with this. I think it's the kind of thing everyone should have this.
It's one of those synthesizers, I think, that it's a bit like the SH-101, that it's really basic and simple. Single oscillator with a few waveforms, a sub oscillator and some noise, a single filter, single envelope, and a little arpeggiator and an LFO. I mean, it's just basic, but it has a real tone to it. Those Brute oscillators, they're great things. I really, really like them.
Yeah, the original was beautifully built. It's 3mm brushed aluminium. I think it's American maple.
Yeah, wood ends and everything.
It's got 2 envelopes, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got a filter and an amp envelope. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
and they're independent, so that's nice. And of course, this has got aftertouch, which I think the original had as well. But this is also MPE compatible.
Yeah.
So I've been playing this through that, and it's a lot of fun. This is fully MPE compatible. As fully MPE compatible as that phrase, might mean, because of course
different things to different manufacturers. Each of them do it slightly differently, but
But this is available right now. Depending on your previous purchases, your price may be different to others, but it won't be any more than $99 at the moment. So sign into your Arturia account. If you got one, you'll be offered your price. If not, it's just $99. And if you want to try it out, there is a free demo as well, and that's all available at arturia.com. So just go to their main page. I think I've even got the link here ready to go. Look at that. And I'm sure the moderators have probably put that in there too. So there you go. Arturia MiniBrute V available now. And there's more, trust me, there is more to come from them in their 25th anniversary year if Astrolab PolyBrute 12 and this wasn't enough.
Yeah.
There's more.
There's more. I think the other thing which I love about this is if you're doing any kind of teaching of audio or even video editing, I use synths to teach the basics, the fundamentals of all of this stuff. There's this is now in that pantheon of those things which you should bring in and just put in front of someone and say, play with it. Play with it. It's a wonderful thing. There's this, and there's another thing which I think we might be talking about a bit later on.
Okay.
It's kind of a synthesizer or something. I don't know.
Yes, some sort of synth.
It's a synth show, isn't it?
I forgot to play the video, and that gives you an idea. So let's just play the sound of that, and then we'll move on to the next thing.
Good video.
So it is very short and sweet and tells exactly what it does, and it's made me actually want to go out and see if I can find a used.
Me too.
Yeah. Although I might try. I don't know how different. Obviously, the 2 is going to be. It's got the semi-modular patch bay in there. Just chill. It's like somebody walked over my grave. But yeah, I'm going to definitely try and get one of those in hardware because they do sound a lot of fun. But in the meantime, the software is rather good. Okay, next up, another piece of new news that we didn't have before is this. And that's just a brief sort of view of the Martinique Pinet T, which is, of course, a modelled version of the Hohner Pinet T, which this is the T version came out in sort of like the late 70s, I believe, for a few years. And the Pinet had been through different iterations right back to the early 1960s in various forms. And the Pinet T is really, really simple construction. It's a keyboard with these little pink rubber suckers on the ends of the levers. NASA patented design, allegedly, with a little suction cup, and it sits on the metal reed, and when you press the key, it lifts the thing and it plucks the reed, but just by releasing it, thereby getting your tone. And that vibrating reed generates, or the vibration is picked up by a pickup, electromagnetic pickup. So there's no power required. You don't plug this machine into anything other than an amplifier, just like you would a guitar. So you just plug that in and away you go. And they've modelled this quite extensively. Let's bring this up on the screen. Where did we go? I've been away a week. I've lost all control. There we go. It's rather cheap as well. It's only £57, but it's £28.50 at the moment, half price, launch price. And yeah, it's this really, really lovely kind of. It's slightly different to an electric piano. It's slightly different to something like a Wurlitzer or a Rhodes or a clavinet or anything. It's one of the most simple electromechanicals, and they've extensively modelled all of this. You can have the unplugged version, which was that second part that you heard. That was just the acoustic version, shall we say. But you can mess around with vibrato, tremolo. You can change the amplification. You can mess around with the pickups, the harmonic mix, and there's a chorus in there as well. And it just sounds a lovely, lovely thing. It's got a nice, innocent quality. It's like a purity to it. And it was very, very popular. Lots of people used the Pinet, especially the Pinet T. And you could just close the lid down and just walk away. Well, now you don't have to worry about it. You can have it on your laptop. It's a very, very nice thing. Kent, do you often get any Pinets?
I am so glad this exists.
Hey.
Right, listen to me, people. Buy this. Set fire to your Planet T. Stop bringing them to me and ask them to be restored. I hate working on these buggers.
What's so difficult? Because they seem so simple.
Well, fitting the rubbers are a pain in the butt. They nearly always
you're doing it wrong.
Yeah. Boom, ba-lum, ba. Yes. And then there's nearly always some of the pickups are shorted, and you have to rewire the buggers because it's very difficult to get hold of replacement ones anyway. And it's just a massive pain in the ass. So yes, buy this, boys and ladies.
And
Oh yes.
In between.
Oh yeah. No, everybody buy it. Yeah, just buy this, and
it's a lovely thing.
Yeah. Planet T's, by the way, make a really, really brilliant sound if you throw them out of a second story window.
Okay.
So do that, sample it for posterity, and then buy this.
There you go. Martinique, of course, the company that also brought us the wonderful AX73 plugin, which we spoke about when that came out. And as Wagyu pointed out in the chat, I'd heard rumours that they were going to come up with an RMI, which would certainly get you excited, wouldn't it, Kent? The harmonic synth.
I'm easily excited.
Yeah, well, indeed. But they also do like an Elka Panther. They do the Keybase, which I think is still free. Yeah, there's a little Keybase. That's a really bassy machine, and it's free. They've got some great stuff in their little catalogue. But yeah, the Pinet T is a really nice thing. Andy, do you have any particular fond memories of this, or did you get a chance to play around with it?
I was never the biggest fan of the sound. For years, I wasn't the biggest fan of the sound because you had to put it through everything to make it sound, halfway decent. And you had Rhodes, and you had the clavinet. There were all sorts of other things out there, the Wurlitzers. So it was never a great big thing on my horizon until I started hearing it through some of the guitar pedals that people use, and suddenly I went, hang on a minute, why didn't I do that?
Yeah.
It does. It's a very there's it is one sound basically. You can, the good news with this is you can play around with the pickup position, so you can get some stuff. They've got built-in effects on this now. Which are okay, but it undeniably all the way through still sounds like a Pinet, which had never appealed to me that much. But once you start bunging it through a whole bunch of effects, it's okay. But I'm kind of, it's good. I think, as Kent said, as long as people burn the ones they have and buy this instead, good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So there you go. That is the Martinique Pinet T. It's available now at half price, $28.50 from the Martinique website, which I do believe. I also look at that. I'm getting good at this, You boys in the chat, you got to keep up with me now. I'm getting them on screen. Yeah. Martinique.com. Pinet T is there. Go and grab it now if you like that sort of thing. It's
and there's a free trial as well. Absolutely
free trial too. Couple of things that aren't on your list, gents, because these were kind of last minute additions. Anybody remember Marillion?
Just a bit.
Yeah,
I remember her.
So I'm very much in the Fish era Marillion rather than
Fish.
Fish. What's his face? I can't remember his name now. He's that memorable.
Fish.
What's his name? And it doesn't matter because Fish has announced that he's retiring, and he's doing a farewell tour next year, of which I've got tickets for, and I'm really, really looking forward to it because I'm a massive fan.
Was he floundering?
Oh, very funny. But no, he's going crofting. He's going to become a crofter. He's
found his place then.
Oh, shut up!
Bless his soul.
Stop! I'm going to turn him off.
Does he play bass?
I am. He's gone. That's it. I've just had my fill.
Pike and tuna turbot.
I'm warning you. Right. Fish is selling up his studio. This is where we're going with this. So he's going to be a crofter. He's going to retire with his lovely wife. But so this is in Lothian, East Lothian in Scotland. And I mean, this is an overview. It's a nice pad. It's a very nice pad. Lots of space for parking, a nice little garden, a big vegetable patch where apparently Green did a lot of gardening. It's even got enough room for a little mini gym. But, of course, Fish being a musician who was recording up until very, very recently, as we get through the garden pictures, we end up in the toilet, and then, but we'll get there in the end. Next one, not the next one, that one. He has got a recording studio in it. It's only a small one, mind, but it's a recording studio nonetheless. And obviously, all of the shenanigans on the walls will probably go. But look at that! You can buy this lovely place to live in East Lothian. Look at that kitchen. You want to see the front room? The front room is, look at that! It's just huge. That's lovely. That is. Anyway, if you ever watch Fish on Friday, which generally goes out before we do, he does like an hourly sort of podcast thing. He does it from that sofa that you can see with the grey blanket. But yeah, this is up for sale. And how much do you think this might be? So this is an old farm that's been converted into house and studio. It's in East Lothian. What do you reckon, Andy?
$1 million.
Ballpark. $1 million. Kent?
720.
Okay, well, so you're both wide of the mark. Offers over 850.
Well,
which I don't think is too bad, actually. Not that I've got £850,000, but for basically a building that includes a studio and all of that room. And you will have to deal with the very lovely Carol. There she is in all her glory. There's her 5 seconds of fame. But yeah, 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 3 public rooms, and a studio.
And a place to flex your muscles.
Absolutely. Yeah, lovely. So if you are looking for a studio in Scotland, there you go. Go and get Fish's studio. I just thought I'd throw that in there, as you do.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Brooks. You don't have to, but you did. I'm glad you got your T-shirt. Where are the pictures? I want the pictures with you in your new T-shirt.
Yeah.
Which eventually arrived. I'm so sorry. Apparently, I underpaid the postage, but I only paid what Royal Mail told me I should pay for that particular item. So.
And that's the story you're sticking to.
And that is the story I'm sticking to. Yeah, screw you, Royal Mail. Anyway, offers to Simpson and Morwick in East Lothian, Scotland, if you want to buy Fish's pad. But it looks an absolutely gorgeous place.
We should finish with that now. Just clam up about it.
I wonder if he's got a reverb tank.
One more and he's gone for good. I swear.
You're not getting crabby, are you?
That's not really a fish. No, that was a technicality. That was a technicality.
All right, okay, yeah,
because
give you that.
That's shellfish.
No more fish or crustaceans.
Yeah.
Okay? Don't be shellfish.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it. Line drawn.
Prawn.
Right.
I didn't think this through, did I?
You didn't, no. Right. Well, shall we talk about Superbooth? Let's get on to some serious stuff.
Oh, go on then.
If you must. The name. Superbooth. I don't know where to start, really. It was just an amazing few days in Berlin. With just the best thing about it was the people. So Manny and his lovely wife Hayden were staying in the same hotel, as were Peter Greenwood and his friend, whose name escapes me right now, but he was a lovely Scottish gentleman. There was a bunch of other people. We were all walking into the station and and back out again, and then of course you get on site and you meet all your friends, whether they're people like this bunch. Where are we? Where's the photo? I just had this all set up, all nicely set up, and I've lost the photo already. Oh, there it is. Stop it, Keith. So there you go. That's in the Bungalow Dorf. There's on the left there you got Ben Breslin. So if you ever wonder what Ben Breslin looks like, that's what he is. And Ben, my word, he is just a lovely, lovely guy. Anyway, but we all went out for dinner, and it wasn't just the four of us. There was a good probably 10 or 12 of us, and Ben made off like he was going to the toilet. And when he came back, he said, "Right, let's go to a bar." And we said, "Yeah, okay. Where do we pay?" And he said, "Don't worry," and he paid for us all. Bless him.
Oh,
what
wow.
an absolute gentleman. So massive thank you to Ben Breslin. I hope I haven't embarrassed him, but you, sir, are an absolute legend. The other legend on that bench that isn't Cheryl Barnes is, of course, the wonderful Carl Bedford, who is one of the loveliest human beings you're ever likely to meet. He is just so, he's a force of nature. Love him to bits. He's a proper laugh. And of course, we went when we went out for this meal. It was also the same evening as Norwich playing Leeds United, and he's a Leeds fan and I'm a Norwich fan. And anybody that follows football knows which one of us was the happiest, and it wasn't me. But there you go. Then there's some fat git in the blue T-shirt, which is the same T-shirt, but this has been washed. And then the other two people are Cheryl. So, yeah, you've got Cheryl there, who is, of course, Mark's wife. And she is absolutely lovely and wonderful. And, she was a scream, as she always is. So there you go. That's that. What else? Talking to Manny Fernandez, there is the doctor himself playing the PolyBrute 12. And Manny's thoughts were incredibly positive. I think one of the comments he said to me, he said, "I've been able to do in a few seconds what it takes me a good sort of 20 minutes to program on other synths to get them to do the same sort of thing," which I think is a pretty impressive thing to hear. And just to give you an idea of the size, that's an Astrolab behind it. This is, and the Astrolab is no little thing. But they are rather large, these things.
But that's for the extra voice cards, and we heard about the vents at the back. Yeah. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that was the Arturia. There was another. You could probably get a better idea of the physicality of this thing when you see this picture of Seb. Seb is the project or product manager for PolyBrute 12. You've probably seen in some of the videos that they do. And he's super enthusiastic about this, obviously. And you can see this is a tall, deep machine in its physical sense, and it's very deep in its internal sense. But yeah, it's a lovely thing. And they were doing demonstrations of that and the Astrolab, just repeating across the day, which was very nice. And then you're walking around, and then every now and again you bump into people. There's Mr. Anthony Marinelli and Dr. Manny Fernandez. I mean, literally, rose between two. No, it's the other way around, isn't it? These guys, I mean, it was just brilliant. We met Anthony a few times walking around. Was there with Dante, his son, who also does all the production for his wonderful videos. He was filming a lot of stuff there as well, and we hung out for a bit. And he's just, in real life, he's just probably even more cool than he is on video. And of course, Manny's super cool as well. Always good to go around.
And Anthony released a video earlier today about a keyboard. What was the keyboard controller he filmed? Someone playing a keyboard.
He was doing something with an Osmos, firing different off.
No. Red and black keyboard.
I don't know.
Have
Continuum.
Sorry, Continuum. Thank you.
Oh, the Hacken Continuum.
The Continuum, and the guy playing it was a genius. And what was really brilliant about the video was watching Anthony's absolute unbridled joy at hearing someone playing something that well. He was just, it's like a child in a sweet shop, and that's him. He's got that enthusiasm.
Yeah,
he's a brilliant man.
Who else did I bump in? Oh, of course, this lovely, lovely gentleman who is, again, just a lovely, lovely human being. This is Howard Scarr. In case you didn't realise. Somebody's at my bloody door. It's like... Anyway, so he was demonstrating Zebralet 3, which is an incredible... Especially when you consider that it's free at the moment as well. So, yeah, Howard was in fine form all weekend, or all week, should I say. Who else? Oh, well, me and my new favourite person. And we hung out a lot over those few days. She is just amazing, and to hear and see her play was just incredible. Really, really, really cool. A lovely, lovely human being. And I gave her daughter a T-shirt, so hopefully we'll get some pictures of Lisa and her daughter wearing a Pro Synth Network T-shirt fairly soon. So there you go. I did also manage to give Mike his T-shirt, and I gave Manny his T-shirt. So I think we are now sorted as far as T-shirts are concerned.
Apart from the two I owe to Ty and Pip.
But you've got those, haven't you?
I've got them.
Yeah, there you go.
I've just got to go over and deliver them at some point.
There's a quick picture of Lisa. She was doing 3 shows a day at the Moog booth. Well, it was the Moog room, basically, upstairs. She was doing 12, 2 and 4. And that, I believe, is a matriarch. I think it's a matriarch. And then she's got 2 of the Moog Sound Studios, the 3 units in the stand. And she's got 2 sets of those. And she was just doing some amazing stuff. I actually got a personal performance, as in she got the headphones on. It wasn't coming out of any speakers, and I walked past and she just grabbed me and she just put the headphones on me and then just started playing. And she couldn't hear what she was playing, but it was just great. It was just like she was just it was amazing. It was just amazing.
Other level talent, isn't it?
She is incredible. If you ever get the chance to go and see Lisa Belladonna play, do so. I was spoilt rotten. Absolutely spoilt rotten. So there was other people. Oh, do you remember Jasper? We had him on the show when we were talking about Widdy. It must have been a couple of years ago. And as I'm walking out of the venue for the last time on the Saturday afternoon, and seriously, I was thinking to myself, God, I've met some amazing people this week. Loads of people that I've known for years, but never actually met in the flesh. And then this guy jumps in front of me and says, Rob! And it's like, Jasper! It was just, fantastic. So we had a really good natter, and he's doing some really cool stuff. And when he does, we're going to get him on the show as well. So that'll be fantastic.
So that's CME, yeah?
So he doesn't work for CME, but he's a musician in his own right, and a very good musician. But he was doing some promo stuff with CME when Widdy came out, and so we had him on the show along with Thomas. And I also hooked up with Thomas again from CME, and we're going to try and set up a show because they've got some new products and some new concepts that they want to get feedback from the public. And we said, well, why didn't we come on the show?
From all of you lovely people here?
Exactly. So we'll talk about it live on the show. So we're going to be setting that up. That's not the surprise announcement, by the way, but that is happening. I don't know how many people know this guy by his face, but this is Kurt Kurosaki, who is also known as Peth around various online forums, and he is an absolute synth legend. He gets to work on and test all sorts of amazing things, and he was on the Third Wave stand where they'd got the Third Wave with all of its new sampling functionality, and I've known Kurt for 20 odd years, and this is the first time we actually met in person, which was brilliant. So
cool.
We talk all the time, and now we've actually physically met. So it was really, everyone was just, there was so many hugs. It was just brilliant. So there you go.
Talking of the Third Wave with its sampling, did you actually manage to get a look-see at that? How's that?
It's so the thing is with that. I mean, I'm not a Third Wave expert, so I still I don't really know my way around the thing without the sampling, let alone with it. But one of the software devs was there, and of course Bob Coover, our friend Bob Coover, was there, who turned up with a broken thumb. His thumb was sort of like at some jaunty angle, but he was so desperate to be there that he flew all the way from America and did the whole of Superbooth, and then went back with this broken thumb. So when we shook hands, he sort of like explained very quickly, broken, and then gives me his other hand. But yeah, so yeah, the sampling thing, it is very basic. It's monophonic. You get like 30 seconds of sample time, but you can do multi-samples, but it is just like, it's very early sampling. So when they were showing me some of this stuff, and they were playing some stuff back, it's very good, and it all goes through the Third Wave audio path as well. So
well,
yeah, it's
kind of want to hear that.
Yeah.
I want to hear that.
Well, we spoke a lot, and hopefully we'll get these guys on to talk about that and possibly other new things that are coming in the future.
Were there any other sort of synthesizers that
There
new
were
synthesizers? Were there?
But I just want to show you this very quickly. This is Manny again. So me and Manny sort of did the whole
C15.
This is the C15, but this is the magenta C15, and there's a
His
very
own
good
one.
reason that this is magenta, because you may or may not know that Manny did a big bank of sounds for the C15, and he said, as payment, can you do me? I mean, he bought the machine, but he said, can you do me a special coloured one? Give me the colour as kind of my payment. So he said, can I have a purple one? And this was their first attempt. As you can tell, it's not hugely purple. It's more pink than anything else. So this was rejected, and his purple one arrived, and it looks amazing. But instead of throwing this thing away, they decided, well, it's a one-off, we'll auction it. So the starting price was $4,750, which is like $250 off the normal price. But I think they did eventually get a winner, and that has gone to a very good home. But that's a one-off completely. And it's an amazing thing. If you go on to, I believe it's the Superbooth like YouTube channel, they have a playlist of all the performances that happened in the main. There's like a seated auditorium, so you have some scheduled appearances, and the guys, Stefan Schmidt and the other guy again, whose name evades me at the moment. Maybe if Manny's in the chat, he'll like to remind us. Did a performance. Bear in mind, this is a 2-operator FM synth with a comb filter, and that's pretty much it. But it does some absolutely amazing things. I mean, it sounds incredible in the hands of a player. It's just amazing. And Manny's patches are very, very good, of course.
Yeah.
I have to say that. I'm contracted to do so. So that was that. So, yes, let's talk about some of the synthesizers that were there. Well, the star of the show wasn't this, the Silver Hydrasynth Deluxe 5th Anniversary Edition, which is essentially just a paint job. And it's got some engraving on the end cheeks, I think. And it says something when you power up something comes up on the display. That's it. Slightly disappointed. They do that in both the 49 and the deluxe version as well. So it would have been nice to have seen something a bit fresh and new, but no. There you go. No, we've already seen the PolyBrute, which I think was the highlight of the show. But this thing, do you remember this? We talked about this not long ago.
Oh gosh, yes, the FM Love thing.
First Love FM,
Icelandic.
Yeah. They are, and really, really nice people. I love the Icelandic accent, so I was there getting my sort of demonstration of it, and I'm just listening, and they're saying, so do you understand? I said, no, can you just say all of that all over again, please? Because I just love the Icelandic accent, but especially when they're talking English. I don't know whether it's a Björk fetish thing, I don't know. Anyway, but this is really cool. I mean, I thought, it's going to be another toy-like thing. So you see those 4 circles?
Yep.
Each one of those represents an operator, and then what you do is if you want to connect one to the other, so connect a modulator to a carrier, you just drag your finger across from one circle to the other, and then it creates that link. If you want to create a feedback loop on any of those operators, you just put your finger in the middle of the circle, move it outside of the circle in a looping fashion, and bring it back in again, and there you've created your feedback loop. And so moving your finger, I have to I hope I'm saying this right. If you put your finger in the middle of the circle and move up or down, that affects the amplitude of the waveform. And then if you move it left and right, it adjusts the frequency of the waveform, and then you can change the shape of the waveforms as well. And then that bit in the middle is like a 3-dimensional sort of like, perspective type thing. So the waveform is traveling from the bottom to the top, and you see it move. And then you create your attack, your envelope there. So your attack, you just slide up from the bottom. Your release, you slide down, and then you can adjust the sustain and delay in the middle. You can also put looping points in there, so you can get it to loop. And it's just so simple and so intuitive. And they've just got rid of all the clutter and just tried to make it fun. And it's a really, really cool thing.
How's it sound?
Very nice, actually. It's because it's got the complex waveforms. It's not just sine waves. You get TX81Z vibes from it. You can get some really wild stuff from it.
When is it actually going to be out this year? I think.
So this is what I was going to come to. The bad news is that what we saw were prototypes. So they just had the cases and all that were just like 3D printed. Inside, the guy told me it's a mess because we've just got the screen in there and then it's just like bits of boards and things flying around inside. 6 to 9 months before they're going to be ready to even start a Kickstarter campaign. So we're going to be looking end of the year, early 2025, and then you're probably looking at 6 to 9 months beyond that. And these are best guesses, so it could even be longer before we get some of these in our hands. But I came away with a big positive vibe because they were so enthusiastic about it, so passionate about it. You got a real feeling that they're going to see this through. So fingers crossed.
Was there any indication of a sort of an RRP range?
Yeah, I think you're going to be. It's a little expensive. I think, and I should have written this down, but it's going to be high hundreds.
That's not bad if you end up with something. I mean, we talk often about the ability to control sound, to be able to articulate in real time. This gives you that in spades, and for what is for an awful lot of people an impenetrably complex way of programming FM. They're making it suddenly really friendly. I love the idea of this a lot.
Yeah, it's a really cool thing, and they had loads of people. They were super busy, which is always a good sign. It's a good benchmark when you see which booths have the most people around them. Their thing is, if their stand is packed, then you think, oh, this is hitting some good buttons, shall we say? Buttons on that. I thought it was funny. What else?
You're letting things slide, Robin.
Yeah, very true. I don't think I've got many more pictures of things, but I tell you what we can do. Let's see.
Ken, is this like watching someone's holiday snaps?
That's what I'm trying to avoid. That's really what I'm trying to avoid. So I'm just trying to think of other cool things that we saw. So this was cool. Let me bring this up onto the screen. Share this, and here we go. This is from Twisted Electrons, who I believe is an English guy but lives out in France. A lot of good stuff coming from France at the moment. Polyphonic FM synth with Sound Blaster chips. Now these were prototypes, so we didn't really kind of get the full experience, shall we say. But this, so on the one hand you've got the First Love FM, which is dead simple touchscreen, and then you've got this, which is still 4-op FM, but like sliders and buttons for every function. So some people might prefer one or the other, but and this does a really good thing. But this is using the Sound Blaster chip, so it's not the same 4-operator FM that you'd say find in the TX81Z or something. This is those later versions of the 262s. So an interesting instrument, but say it was just a prototype, and we're not going to see that for a little while. But a very, I'm very interested to get my hands on one of those. That was cool.
Release dates
again. I don't think, did we have one of those? Late summer, autumn of this year, and it should be under 1,000, but that's about all they could give us.
Okay. Looks interesting.
Yeah, it does. It really does. So what else was there? And I'm unashamedly using the Gear News roundup page. So this one was very nice. I couldn't get near this because every time I was in the room where this was, there was just a crowd of people everywhere. This is the Melbourne Instruments Delia, nothing to do with the lovely lady that co-owns Norwich City. But you remember these guys? They had the Nina, which was the motorized rotary knob thing. Well, they've kind of taken that idea, and this isn't just a Nina with a keyboard. This is beyond that. but it looks a lovely thing. And I didn't get to hear much of it because they were in a room with loads of other people, and they'd got headphones on, and so I couldn't really get close to this. So I can't tell you too much about it. But people that I spoke to who played it said that it sounded really, really cool. So that's
How many
that was the
voices?
last one. Again, these this should be coming in the summer for just under 2.5. By the way, if you go to the Gear News website, there are videos here. And I don't want to play these because I haven't got permission to play all the Bonito stuff. And Nick Bat, who was there, of course, Nick was doing his thing. Whenever you saw Nick, he was just like a blur. He was just going from one place to another. You couldn't really stop him. And actually, the longest I spoke to Nick was in the airport coming home because he was just so busy. But yeah, he's done a whole bunch, like 100 videos or something. So yeah. ASF Stripe, which is our friend Dave Surchek. What was the big reveal? We haven't done it yet. We're keeping you on tenterhooks.
Yes, we
So
are.
stick around.
Your
Don't go
hook has
away.
never been so tented.
Indeed. What else was very cool? Yeah, UDO.
Yes.
There's an interesting one. So they brought the Super Gemini, which debuted last year, and they had the Super 6, and they brought out an expansion thing for the Super 6, which is basically a polyphonic aftertouch keyboard for £499. You buy the keyboard, you open up the unit, you unscrew the keyboard. There's one cable, you pop that off, and then you put the new one in, screw it in, plug the cable in. Robert's your mother's brother. You have poly aftertouch on your Super 6. But the instrument they were debuting was the Super 8. And this one got a lot of people scratching their heads because they're like, this thing is supposed to cost just over 3,000, about 3,100 or 3,200, which is not a huge amount less than the Gemini. But the Super 8 is kind of being pushed as an expanded Super 6. It's got 16 voices.
But they're already talking about expanding that, doing an update to expand it to 20.
To 20, which is the same as the Gemini.
Ta-da!
Every time I went to speak to George, he either wasn't there, so he was avoiding me, or he was there and talking to somebody else. So I couldn't get any more information, and I really wanted to ask him, what's the thought behind the placement in your sort of portfolio? Is it a middle ground between the two, or is it something different, or what? I didn't quite get it. But again, if you watch the Superbooth live performance videos that they've put up on their YouTube channel, George does a lovely thing with the Gemini and the Super 8. George's demos are always really, really good, and they can pretty much sell you the synth on their own. Bostic247 says, did I see the Supercritical Redshift? Again, yes, I did. Mark Barnes went and played it and absolutely loved it. Again, when I went in there was a whole crowd of people. When you see the video that I'm going to share at some point, it's very near the beginning. And yeah, it sounds great. It's a really, really nice thing. Because we covered that, didn't we? It was the one with all the hexagonal buttons.
Yes.
So yeah, that was very good. So the UDO thing, I'm a little confused as to what purpose that is fulfilling.
We came to kind of the same conclusion last week, didn't we, Ken? It sounds amazing. If there wasn't the Super Gemini, I get it. And lots of people, a few people said, well, it's smaller than the Super Gemini, so maybe it will be less easier to gig with, but I'm not sure that's the case.
Well, it's not smaller physically, really. Because it's still a 61 note. I mean, let's just bring this up on here. It's still this 61 note keyboard. It might be a little shallower, but it's physically it's the same. But it doesn't have the ribbon controller. It does have Poly AT. It just seems like it's not quite a halfway house. It's a bit more than a halfway house.
It does have Poly AT.
Yeah. So it just doesn't have the ribbon strip.
Here's the thing: if there wasn't a Super Gemini, that is a lovely looking synth. It's very
Absolutely.
simple, very reminiscent of the Jupiter. and it looks like the kind of thing I'd love to have a play with. But if I got it, I'd always be wondering why I didn't spend just that little bit extra to get the Super Gemini.
Yeah, it is one of those things where
which has controllers for everything.
Yeah, and two layers of controls, because it's this. Yeah,
yeah.
It's an odd one, but I wish him the best because he makes amazing stuff, and it's just very good. Of course, this was another big kind of star of the show that people were talking about, the T05 from Oberheim. It sounds Oberheimy. It's only 1,500 quid or euros or whatever, which is a decent price to get genuine Oberheim hardware. It looks that it can do a lot of stuff. It's got Through Zero cross-mod FM on it. Howard Scarr was saying to me that he really didn't like the interface.
I'm with Howard on this.
Yeah.
I'm with Howard. You can't control the levels of the voices unless you have to menu dive to get to the voice levels. And that just seems arcane. The thing that always made Oberheim was it's a fistful of knobs that allow you to do just about everything you need to.
Yeah.
This suddenly makes it kind of difficult. I'm not, it sounds amazing.
Yeah. 5
voices, 1,500 quid for an Oberheim. That's great, but you don't have direct control over everything.
Yeah.
And there is an alternative cheaper, which a lot of people have mentioned as well. And that's caused a huge amount of noise in all the different channels talking about synthesis. But you kind of have to wonder why this at this price without just giving those few little extra things. Just give us direct control of the volume. It just seemed like a real odd missing something.
My thought is that they wanted to bring something in for people who can't afford the OBX8, because that's not a cheap thing. It's $5,000, isn't it? It's a lovely, lovely thing. Don't get me wrong, but I'm sure they wanted to give something to that lower end of the market. It does sound great. I mean, it really does. I'm instantly put off by the small form factor. If I want a big, if I want an analog poly, I want enough space to play the thing, and I want more than 5 voices. But that said, it does really sound very, very nice. But yeah, the interface is a little cluttered. You can see what they've done. They thought, we've got the tooling for the sequential take 5. Let's just take that and give it a twist. But for anybody that wants genuine Oberheim analog sound for 1,500 quid, this is it. Or you get one of the GeForce plugins.
Is now a good time to talk about that very subject, about the Oberheim, or do we not bother?
I don't really want to kind of add, fuel to that fire. But yeah, I mean, as you say, Behringer a few days ago made this odd claim that their UBXA was the best-selling synth at the moment. And they didn't quantify that at all. And it emerged that they were basically going off Thoman's. Thomann have a chart of what's the best-selling thing at the moment, and that changes, obviously, regularly. Mm-hmm. And UBXA was the top of that. So they made this big song and dance being the best-selling synth, but they didn't say the best-selling synth this week at Thomann, which would have been much more accurate. Anyway, somebody in the comments just left this very dry thanks to Tom Oberheim. Just a little dig, and the Behringer social media team bit, and they made this claim that they had consulted, or Tom had consulted with them or something, implying that there was more than just a discussion. They say that he gave them their consent, or he gave them his consent. And there was a couple of other weird comments. And then at the bottom of that, they also said they did this kind of why only me thing, where they said, why is it that other people can do replicas of classic instruments, but we're the only ones that get, and I'm paraphrasing it, we're the only ones that get, the grief for it.
They were saying that lots of other people make virtual copies of
instruments,
all
sorts of different
and they're the only ones that get grief. Well, that's not the case, but yes.
Well, that's a different argument altogether.
That's a different thing. However,
Tom Oberheim, or the Oberheim organisation, put out a message today that just wanted to clarify. They said, we hear that comments have been made. What we wanted to just want to clarify that we didn't consult with them on anything. They've got a license to use the name UBXA, which I guess is because it's so close to OBXA that Oberheim were able to sort of say, you're kind of borrowing this, but we'll let you do that, I think. And that's what he basically said. We allowed him to do that, and that's it. There's nothing else. There's no other connection between us. And we just want to make clear that we don't work with them, they don't work with us,
and we're not endorsing this product.
Yeah, and then Behringer doubled down on it about 15 minutes before we came on air, which is one of the reasons we're starting a little bit late, because they then sort of started this reply, and the reply had this weird sentence in there which absolutely didn't need to be there, but I suppose somebody would say when questioned about the designer of the original synthesizer, we clarified in a social media post that we have the pioneer's consent, affirming our right to market our synthesizer and use the name. The pioneer, whose name we're unable to mention based on a 3-year-old agreement, states. And then, there's this whole thing, and they're really doubling down on it, and it's going to turn into another one of those things where people will be arguing left, right, and centre, and doing nobody any good, and raising people's blood pressure, and it just doesn't need to be. But there you go. So I think we'll leave it there, and people can go and make of that what they will, and they'll vote with their wallets.
And they will vote with their wallets, and there's going to be a lot of people that can't afford the big Oberheim that will be buying other models elsewhere at a much cheaper price. So, none of this needed to happen. None of this. They were very stupid doing this, making that claim. It was a really stupid thing. Someone's made a mistake, and they won't let go now.
No,
but there we go.
So
I was confused about the
It's the Michael O'Leary school of marketing. As long as they're talking about you, that's good.
I was very confused also that it got the Synth of the Show award.
Well, it got that from Sonic State. That was
okay.
That was Nick's decision. It wasn't a super. I don't think there's a Superbooth like best in show. I know they do it at NAMM, but no, that was Nick. And Nick actually explained the other day why he gave that to them, because it was a new synth with a new design, and didn't mention this little girl, but said basically other things were just iterations, whereas this is a new thing. So that's why he felt, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine.
It's a Take 5 with some modifications and a different paint job.
I'm sure there's probably more to it, but yeah.
And a different filter.
It's objective. It's subjective. So whatever.
But I'm not. By the way, sorry, I don't for a moment. I'm not for a moment criticising Sonic State. They do a great job. They do
indeed. They do indeed. Peter James Stephen, who was also at Superbooth and was great company throughout, he reminded me that I hadn't shown you this, and this actually almost became one of the highlights for my show. I have never played one of these in person, but that is Giorgio Moroder's K250. Allegedly, I'll say allegedly, because they didn't have paperwork. Giorgio wasn't there to say yes, this is mine. But what a beast! Unfortunately, some of the keys were a bit sticky, as in they wouldn't return to the, not sticky, you know what I mean. But flicking through some of the patches on that, and knowing when this was built, and it sounds incredible.
Ken, have you ever had one of these in for service?
Several.
And?
Are they fun?
Yeah, they're lovely. I like them.
Yeah. What, as a repair job as well as an instrument?
Oh, a repair job, no. But as a keyboard, lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were sort of streets ahead, weren't they, really, back then?
Yeah.
Indeed. Yeah. But that was in the tent that had ESI, who make great MIDI and audio interfaces, PWM, who were there with the Mantis, which is now 4-voice paraphonic, which was interesting. And there was somebody else in that tent, because they basically gave me this bag of stuff, which included a patch cable. I'm the last person that needs a patch cable, but they gave me a patch cable.
Needs some.
Do you think?
Kent does.
No.
He's... Yeah,
If I get my MiniBrute 2S, then I'm going to need it. Well, not 2S, the 2, just the regular 2. Yeah, I'm going to need it. Yeah. But no, that was really interesting. So thanks for reminding me about that one, Peter. We spoke about that. Should we talk about Moog? Because Moog were there. And there was... Moog were there, and some other things were there, and some other things weren't there, and that caused a bit of a stink. So this was there, and this... sounds surprisingly good, especially when you use it to process stuff like drum machines. Sounds really, really nice. They had a whole bunch of these around in the booth itself, linked up to various things like DFAMs and mothers and you know, all the other kind of sound studio things. This is the Spectravox, which again is not generally my sort of cup of tea, but listening to things going through it, it sounded very, very nice. Oh, look, there's a Lo-Fi 12. This is a very nice thing.
Was Lisa demoing this?
She had it on some stuff, yeah. She was processing. Okay. I think she was processing her drums through it as well. But it does sound very, very nice. So that was there. These are all 599. So all of these modules, you know, the Spectravox, the DFAN, the Mother, they're all 599. And they've now got, I think, with the upcoming one that got leaked, I think, there's going to be about 5 of these modules, or maybe 6 of them. So I don't think I'm going to be breaking any NDAs if I tell you that they are going to be releasing the kits to build, you know, because you used to have to buy the Sound Studio kit, and it came with the side stands and the power supply and the little mixer and everything. They're going to be selling all of that stuff individually soon. So you can literally, it's like a Lego kit, you can sort of buy and build your own sort of little studio. So they were very good. And of course, the big non-news, I suppose, was that there wasn't any of these things that we know about, because they've been out there on TV land and stuff. So, you know, the Labyrinth got leaked a while back. And, of course, we all know about the Mirror, which is now the Muse. And, you know, that's been doing the rounds. And a lot of people got quite upset because they went to the Moog booth and they weren't there. But there's a lot of misinformation going on around the internet on a few, shall we say, choice synthesizer related YouTube channels, and I can guarantee you that everything that they're saying on those particular channels, and there are some forum threads around here and there, I'm told, I haven't gone and seen them, is wrong. Massively wrong. They've literally got the wrong end of the stick and run with it, and it's just so wrong. So all I am allowed to say is that I and a number of other people was invited to this, which was a private preview party a week ago today, where we were treated incredibly well and given lots of information under NDA, and we were also allowed to see and hear certain things. And last Friday morning, myself and my editor from Gear News were invited to a very private, very, very, like, just us, where we got hands-on. So I can't say any more than that, other than everything's good with Moog. Eric Norlander was rumoured to be getting involved. He was officially announced, kind of publicly announced the other week. He is the Director of Keyboard Product Development for the InMusic family of brands. And if you're going to have somebody
that's great news, isn't it?
Yeah, if you're going to have somebody as the head of keyboard development, Eric Norlander is the guy. And if you want somebody to protect the Nord, the Moog, it's this Norlander Moog thing. If you want something to protect the Moog brand, Eric Norlander's your man. So that was great. Eric was there. I didn't get a picture with Eric, which I was really disappointed about. But Eric's super cool, super buzzing about the whole thing. Who else was there? Oh, yeah. Joe Richardson, the former CEO of Moog Music, who's now been sort of drawn into in music at a higher level. He's still there, fiercely passionate about everything that's going on there. And guess who else was there? Jack O'Donnell. He was there. I saw this wiry-looking gentleman who was, he looked like, that your 70-year-old granddad that does 3 marathons a week. That super fit granddad with the lovely hair and everything. And I saw him. I thought, I recognise you, but I can't think who you are. No, it's gone. And then there was this kind of presentation, and somebody pointed him out, and he was very quiet in the background, just watching brief, just talking to people very nicely. And I wanted to go up to him and have a chat and introduce myself, because I did stuff with Akai and Alesis around the time that he came in on that, and I just thought it'd be a nice way to introduce and start a little conversation, maybe get him on the show. But he snuck out, and he was gone into the night.
And curiously, despite our worst fears last year when Moog was taken over by music, look at the stuff that's coming out. Just look at it. It is coming out. Things are happening.
And it's all being assembled in Asheville. It's all being assembled in Asheville.
So, regardless of what you think, it's kept the brand not just alive, but actually really beginning to do significant things again.
Across the course of this year, we're going to see.
Yeah.
And everything's cool.
Which I'm really pleased about.
And
really,
if you've
really
watched videos by certain other people who weren't there, who are just purely speculating and just rumour mongering, Steve Elbows, who is a regular in our chat, he's a big MPE expert, pulls us up on a lot of things, and rightly so. But he messaged me yesterday and sent me these links to these. He says, you don't have to watch these, but you might want to. So I watched them, and it's like every single thing that they were claiming to be or claiming to have happened didn't. And I can categorically say that because I was there, and so was Dr. Mike. Couldn't get rid of him. No. Seriously, Moog are doing well.
So we can look forward to a Moog, Moog MBXA, can we?
Can you imagine? So I can't say any. I've probably said too much as it is, but look, if anybody is worried about Moog, don't be, because unless something goes massively wrong, but don't be. It's in good hands. Their plans are incredible. The stuff that they're making is incredible, and we should all be happy that they are still around, and they will. All of our fears should be allayed. I might live to regret that. But yeah.
Call it as you see it.
Lisa Belladonna is involved. Okay, she's not just somebody they wheel out to do the performances. She is deeply involved. And knowing Lisa as I do, she wouldn't be involved in anything that wasn't good, spiritually good. So. There you go. That's all I'm going to say about that. Watch this space, because you are going to be very happy at what comes out there. What's the time? It's 8:25 almost.
I know we've got a special announcement, but before we get to that, the one thing you haven't mentioned is that thing sitting right over your shoulder there.
Oh, that thing?
That small little, which for my money and for pretty much everyone else that attended that I saw that commented, was the star of Superbooth.
I had to prize Carl Bedford. Actually, I couldn't, because Carl's a man mountain. He's a hefty, as in muscular, big lad. Wouldn't want to meet him. I wouldn't want to be. I'm glad he's my friend. Okay,
like Kent.
Yeah, exactly. And couldn't get him off the thing. He loved it. I think he's placed an order. What? Anyway, no, it's lovely, as you can. Probably haven't got the level set on that thing because I wasn't anticipating on playing it, but we are going to do a special on it. That's for sure.
Hurrah!
It's just, honestly, it really is a lovely instrument. It requires a little bit of relearning how to play that keyboard, because that full touch mode, where as soon as the key starts to move, it opens up the envelope, and you travel through the envelope with your finger as your finger goes down. That takes a bit of getting used to, but once you've developed the touch, it's amazing. And then,
but it's not always switched to that. You can switch that on or off. There are lots of different modes, aren't there?
Our good friend Jamie is in the chat. Jamie from Geosynth. Hello, sir. I hope you're feeling better. Spoke to him actually earlier on, so yeah, he's doing well, which is great. So Jamie's done 3 banks of sounds for that one, which is the regular PolyBrute, or the PolyBrute 6, is I think it's officially going to be known as now. So he's done 3 amazing banks for that. If you've got a PolyBrute and you don't own Jamie's sounds, go and sort that out immediately. So I've loaded his patches on here. They work exactly the same. Okay, so in the regular mono aftertouch mode, you would not know the difference, except that you can hold more notes down because it's 12 voice and not 6 voice.
Yeah.
Soon as you put on the poly aftertouch, it's doing poly aftertouch on Jamie's voices. And as soon as you put it into full touch mode, then you're getting the full touch mode on those as well. So I called up one of the sounds, and you hit the key hard and it plucks the envelope and you get a really nice sharp attack. But if you play it slow, it's this big washy pad sound, and it's all one patch, and it's just amazing. So out of the box, Jamie's sounds work fantastic, and I guess all the other third party stuff will, because the implementation of that mechanism can be as simple or as complicated as you want it to be. So I'm sure that when Jamie gets his hands on a PolyBrute 12, he might go through some of those sounds and tweak them slightly to fully take advantage of the extra voices and the MPE and all that stuff.
I think Manny got it pretty much bang on from what you said earlier.
Yeah.
That he was able to do things immediately that would otherwise take 20 minutes to program. I think that says everything about what I hate the phrases, but it is a game changer. That keyboard it just sounds. I can't wait to get hold of one and play around with it at some point. I might have to pay you a visit, Robbie. You poor bugger.
Indeed. I mean, I was thinking about. Kent would love to have a go on this, but getting into the car is a heavy, and I haven't got a case for it because it's so. I don't know if you can. I'm not going to. It's a chunky thing. No, but I'm not transporting it in my car unless it's got proper protection.
We're getting a bus, Ken.
But it's a big thing, and it's. I think I said in my review that I did for Gear News is that this is probably the most expressive analog synthesizer, genuine analog synthesizer since the CS80, or words to that effect. And I stand by those because I think it is. There isn't anything quite like it, and I think it's going to go down as like a line in the sand. There's going to be everything up to PolyBrute 12, and then there's going to be all the stuff after it. And as Kent was saying, they need to get that keyboard mechanism into a controller. Because this working with MPE Arturia software works a dream. It's gorgeous. I mean, it gives a whole other dimension to things like pigments and MiniBrute and stuff like that. It's it's a great machine. It really is. And the beauty of it is that if you've used a PolyBrute, you're completely at home with this thing because it's exactly the same.
But will it work in the same? Will a controller work in the same way as that keyboard works with that particular engine?
Well, that depends, I guess, on how they implement it. And it's an MPE controller, so it will work in that sort of MPE mode. And I suppose you might need to adjust some things. I don't know. I don't know. But it would just be nice to have that sort of action in the controller for those that don't want the big heavy lump.
Yeah. I also saw that the new OS for this is coming out.
Yep, coming out in June, OS 2.0.
I'm really excited about.
Lots of new things in there. Didn't get much time on the Yamaha stand. I was there for a little while Matt Johnson was there with Dom Cigalis, but there wasn't really anything. And this was one of the things that a lot of people said about this year was some people were saying that it was much more modular and Eurorack heavy this year. I don't think it was. I think it was pretty much the same on that level. There was just less of the kind of traditional stuff. And what they were bringing, like last year we didn't have the Montage M at Superbooth. This year it's there, but it's been out for a while. And it was like, all these other things had been around for a bit. We know about them. We're not hugely excited to see them. Hello. Got a visitor behind you.
Hello, Fifi.
We're sort of not hugely excited about this stuff. So I just think there was less to get excited about. She's a star, isn't she?
Hi, Fifi.
She's writing code and she doesn't know what day it is.
It's a good job she had clothes on.
That's a slight improvement on yesterday.
Hang on, £5 for Ken.
Yeah, just for Ken.
I want a PolyBrute.
There was a couple
You see the
of questions
question in the chat?
Was this one from Man with Beard?
No, above that one.
Oh, well, I don't know. So, what you mean, Jamie's one? This one?
No.
No.
You mean Nick Hall's one?
Let me find it.
This one here. Did Yamaha announce when the VST version?
That one.
Was that?
Apparently, the end of June. Beginning of July.
They didn't give us.
No, that's not it.
They didn't give us a date. Unfortunately, or a demonstration. There was nothing. There was no sneaky peeks.
That one.
What one?
That I just highlighted.
Oh, this one.
Yes.
I have a really dumb question. Can old school MIDI data rate cope with the amount of extra info that's going to be generated? It's a good question.
And it's not a dumb question. It's an excellent question.
Well, here's an answer. Yes. Because these new techniques use 15 MIDI channels as opposed to one. So
yeah.
Bags of data room.
But Steve Elbows would be the guy to properly answer that. And he has. Generally, I'd say modern MIDI devices can handle far more messages than you might expect, even Bluetooth MIDI as well. So, in general, the answer is yes. Sorry, Nick, they didn't mention anything, certainly publicly. Yamaha were in the same room at the back arse end of the upstairs level of the building. They had nothing of any interest. Like last year, they didn't have the montage, but they brought an FS1R with Robert's big handmade controller thing, and they had a whole bunch of really interesting stuff. This year it was just CPs and montages, and I think they had a few of the refaces. That was about it, really. It wasn't
Finger
particularly
drums?
exciting. Possibly. I didn't see them. I wasn't looking for them. Again, all of this stuff has been out a while, and so I'm there. I'm not going to go and look at a Montage M8X again because I've spent time with one. I know what it does. I want to go and play with the other stuff. Carl's just reminded me, of course, about this thing that this was funny. So let's bring this in. It is the Korg PS 3300 FS. I believe this was its European debut because I think it first appeared at NAMM beginning of the year. So this was the first time it had kind of been seen in public, and it looks amazing. I mean, it really does look like a beautiful piece of equipment. It's a proper statement piece. Sadly, not working properly. When we got there, we were some of the first people in on the Thursday morning, and there was this little guy with a laptop connected to it, frantically pushing those the preset buttons that you see there on the right, and doing something on the laptop, and then frantic and hitting the keyboard, and the look on his face. He wasn't saying, the look on his face was like, well, that didn't work. That didn't work either, and shit, that's not working. And then eventually they put the glass screen back in front of it, and all us plebeians could just walk past and admire it. And then Marky Barnes, bless him, who is a fantastic keyboard player and a Korg beta tester, asked if he could have a go, because every now and again they would take the front panel off, and it wasn't actually Korg that were there running their stand, it was their European German-based distributor. And again, paraphrasing, they basically told Mark that only people who were someone could play it. So in other words, if you were a popular synth YouTuber, you could probably have a go. But if you're not, you can't. And Mark said, but I beta test for you lot. You know, I get all of this, you know, most of this stuff, you know, well in advance. I have a go. No, wouldn't let him have a go. Probably just as well, because it wasn't working properly. But
wow,
it is a lovely thing to look at anyway.
That's a bit of a shot in the foot for them, isn't it?
Well, you would have thought that, you know, they've just announced they're going to do a limited production run over and above the, you know, the exclusive ordering thing. And you would have thought they would have either had it working or at least let people have a go on it. Just say, look, only 2 patches work, you can play those. Mess around with them. But, you know, I didn't even bother asking to play for it because I'm a nobody, so they wouldn't have let me. And I had a look.
There's quite a bit of it that actually isn't working yet.
Yeah, it would seem so.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah, it's, Jamie, it's supposed to be about 13k, which was...
Do you know what I love about them? You undo those 4 screws at the top.
Yeah.
And that entire front panel will swing out.
Drops out. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, little bits of string to hold it in place,
Yeah.
so you can do the pots and stuff.
Yeah.
I had to shift a 3200 yesterday. God, lumps.
Yeah.
They are
But look,
heavy.
it's gorgeous. I mean, it really is a lovely looking thing. I just wish that, you know, we could get to play one, but us mere mortals can only wish, I think. Anyway, that was that.
World's most expensive string synth.
Indeed. And they also had the Minilog XD inverted, which is just a Minilog XD with white keys where the blacks are and the black keys where the whites are.
I had an inverted log once.
Yeah, this was fun. So last year they were there with this, but it's come on a long way. But it's still not there. It's still, and they, you know, that's their own admission, not, you know, us. So it's a very interesting thing, you know, this kind of electroacoustic thing, and the sounds it makes are pretty unique. But I was watching Taka play this, and it, beyond the novelty, it didn't really sort of move me.
No.
Maybe this is just not my thing. I don't know. But they've done some incredible work and research, but it's still... I reckon they're going to come back next year and it'll be, you know, slightly better. But
we were talking about this last week, and I think, Kent, was it you or was it Andy Brooks that said this is the kind of thing that if it becomes... Actually, no, it was Cherry Audio... what's his name?
Dan Mitchell?
No, Mitchell. It was Mitchell said the point at which this becomes a 61 or a 73 key version of this, suddenly there's something really interesting.
Yeah.
It becomes an electromechanical proper instrument, because the fact is, just with those 8 tines, you get bored pretty quickly.
They had a little tray of wooden things that they were kind of placing, and I thought, well, that's interesting, but it's also a bit flipping annoying, and you'd lose those. And it seemed like some really good ideas that haven't quite formed properly. But you know, it's still some way on from what it was last year, and it's still a very interesting thing. I just wasn't particularly excited. I think last year there was more buzz than there was this year.
Yeah,
even though they were offering free
they've
lemonade.
gone from 5 to 8, and yeah, you know, okay.
It's nice. Just trying to think if there's anything more significant. I didn't get a chance to look at this. I didn't get a chance to look at that.
Yeah.
That does look amazing, so I can't say anything about that, but it does look amazing. I've done the First Love. I didn't get a chance to play with that either, the First Labs Manatee, which is now 16 voice, but it's a lovely... I've sort of seen a demo of it, and it sounds great. Nice compact little desktop digital synth.
I think we liked that a lot when we saw.
We did, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that kind of, I mean, we could spend a lot of time talking about what happened at Superbooth, but what happened at Superbooth stays at Superbooth. But for me, again, it's Superbooth or Synthfest or whatever. These events are primarily about the community, and it's so great to just be in your tribe, if you will. The vibe is so relaxed and so happy. And you meet people that you've never met, but you speak to online a lot, or you meet people that you know really well. Your annual visit with them. And Berlin is a great vibe. It's a wonderful city. So it's just a brilliant thing. And if you get the chance to go. Because you're walking around, and 1 minute you see Daniel Miller and Gareth Jones talking to each other. It's just like, whoa, there's a moment. Then you see the bass player from Neubauten, whose name I can't pronounce or remember, but was freaking, that's the bass player from Neubauten. Blixer wasn't there, unfortunately. That would have been cool. Who else? I mean, there was just lots of, people people you don't know, people you recognise, and everyone just, it was just like a really friendly sort of vibe. So yeah.
There seemed to be, what they did seem to be was an awful lot of stuff that isn't yet quite ready. Some stuff we've seen over multiple years still not being ready. So the Korg thing and the zebra, which doesn't.
Yeah.
It's a shame it doesn't seem to have moved on. I'm sure Howie will tell us at some point.
Oh yeah,
that it has moved. It's moved on a bit, but we're still miles away from.
But
Zebra
saying that,
3.
Zebralette is incredible. Things that Howie was showing. There was me and Manny, and Howie was just like doing it. Oh yeah, if I do this, and I just link this to that, and whoa, where did that come from? It's really. I need to really dig into that a bit. So yeah, but there's it kind of. I don't think it was quite as good as last year, but it wasn't awful by any stretch of the imagination. It was a really great event. Thoroughly recommend it. And the weather just turned as we arrived on Wednesday. The weather just improved. And even Saturday, they were threatening thunderstorms, and it never happened. So there must be if there's a god somewhere, he looks down on Superbooth and says, yeah, you guys are cool. You're right. It's fun.
Were there any good drum machines? And the reason I mention that is because of this donation.
Oh, look at that, 808. Nice, thank you, Jörg. Sounds like it's time to start saving for next Superbooth. Absolutely. Drum machines. Were there any... Nothing of note that I remember seeing. I'm trying to go around the event in my head. No, there wasn't. Which is disappointing. I mean, Brad from Eiler Instruments needs to get over.
He does.
Bring his stuff. Maybe next year when he's got the Caladan all sorted, that'd be good. But no, there was nothing massively distinctive in the drum machine department. We must say thank you to John Malmqvist for 200 Swedish krona. I have no idea what that translates to, but thank you ever so much. Really appreciate that. Let's see, we've got a couple of questions in the chat. Is Superbooth still the better event over Synthfest, even if you're more into synth keyboards rather than modular equipment? It's better than Synthfest in that it's bigger and broader, and in Berlin, which is a fantastic place. But that's not to say that Sheffield isn't. Synthfest is 1 day, Superbooth is 3 days. In terms of the balance between modular and keyboards, probably much the same. It's kind of nowadays it's a 60-40 split in favour of modular, I guess. But there's still some really cool stuff.
200 Swedish krona is £14.73.
Wow. Thank you.
That's 2 beers.
Yeah.
That's 2 beers. Yeah.
Indeed. Well, it's 2 beers if you don't return the cups for the deposit.
Yeah. Well,
that's what that is. But no, do you know? You take Superbooth. Superbooth is this massive thing, and Herr Schneider has done a miraculous job year on year. He does these amazing events, and they go off pretty much without hitch. And it's brilliant. Whereas Sound on Sound, put Synthfest on, it's for one day. It's a pretty intensive day, but it's a great day nonetheless. And then you've got the guys doing Bristronica, which is 3 or 4 years old now. I can't remember. And we're going to that this year, so I can't comment on that because I've never been to Bristronica. Then you've got the little things like Synth East in Norwich and Synthesized in Cambridge, which are much, much smaller, but still just great fun. And it's not, for me, primarily, these things are not about the gear as much as they are about the community and the people, and just hanging out with lots of really lovely, cool people. DT Skate wants to know, did you talk about the Imposca 3 last week?
Do you know, we didn't. I completely missed that because we had the Cherry Audio guys on, and I was going to ask them, because I know they're great fans also of G-Force. My fault, I completely missed it. It's a blooming good thing.
Maybe we'll, if we can, maybe if we're short of something, we can talk about it next week, because it's a great. So I was talking with all the G-Force dev team were out in Superbooth. That's kind of like their annual little sort of team outing. And Graham Rawson was there and had a really nice long chat with Graham about all sorts of things, most of which, again, I can't talk about. But there's a massive sense of relief at G-Force now, because Imposca was the last of the legacy instruments to get the makeover, so to speak. So they're all done, and they're out of the gate and gone. And Graham was basically implying that what's coming next is going to be super cool and exciting.
We've got. Can we get him on the show?
Well, I'll try to. Yeah, I'll try and get maybe Graham and Jerome, because I don't think Hugo is very customer facing. No. He's the kind of the genius programmer these days. But yeah, we had some really great conversations and some revelations. You know, we were talking to Graham. There was Gaz Williams. The guy behind Electron was there, who's a massive FM nerd, and Manny Fernandez was there, and we were talking. This was proper nerdy. We were talking about our favourite DX7 algorithm, which one is our favourite. Manny was explaining, and this guy from Electron says, "Yeah, I think you're right." Yeah, and then we started talking about where FM is used. Did you know the Yamaha AM1X, this virtual analog monster, is all powered by FM? I did not know that. I knew it had a little FM engine in there because it does some FM sounds, but it's all FM.
I didn't. That's why. Okay.
Yeah. Who knew?
I didn't know that at all.
Who knew? But then we know about other modern software synthesizers that are emulating analog instruments that basically are FM. Very good. I tell you, FM is in everything. Anyway, so that's pretty much Superbooth. So, shall we make an announcement? Should we do that now?
No, let's not.
Should we just leave them on tenterhooks?
Just leave them on tenterhooks.
There was another question from Jamie very quickly. I'm assuming this refers to PolyBrute. Is there any sound quality difference? I haven't really noticed anything. I have had them running both at the same time, but no, they both sound incredibly good. But that maybe they've got slightly different output, whatever. I don't know. Honestly, don't know. So I'll try and find out. Right. So let's see. Let's make an announcement, I think.
Yes.
I should have. Hang on. I've got a. There we go. Oh, I've got another one. What's this one? It's dead, is what that one is. We'll do that one again. All right, then. I just want to turn the comments on the screen here because I want to see the reaction to this. Right. Okay. So you might have seen that three of our favourite organisations, two of which are charitable organisations, are doing some stuff, and we'll talk about the Alan R. Perman Foundation one in just a moment, but I want to talk about the Bob Moog Foundation one. And the reason I want to talk about the Bob Moog Foundation thing is because it's a new raffle, and it's a raffle to win a new Moog, Mini Moog. I think is it the 2022 version? I believe it is.
the latest version.
Yeah, the latest one. So
With
if
the
you've seen
additional LFO.
with additional LFO, if you've seen the news about this, you'll know that it's being signed by a certain individual. And next week, that certain individual will be on our show.
Yay!
Ladies and gentlemen, next week we're going to be joined by the one and the only Jordan Rudess. Of which I'm super excited. I've been speaking to Jordan this week. And a massive thank you to the wonderful Michelle Mokusa for setting that up for us.
Thank you, Michelle.
Wow. Just wow. She approached us and said, we're doing a raffle, and me and Craig and I are flying out to see, actually on the weekend of Superbooth, which is why she couldn't come. We're flying out to see Jordan. Jordan's going to sign it. If I can get him on the show, would you like that to happen? Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, all right. If you insist.
Excellent. And then I got an email introduction, and I responded, and Jordan responded to me, and I told him what we do, and he's like, love to do it. So Jordan will be on the show next week. Yay! So tune in from the very start of the show. If you're going to be a late joiner, don't be. But we are going to be joined live by Jordan Rudess, and cannot wait. And we're going to talk about all things Moog and him, and try and get as much out of him as possible. So he's going to be on for the first half of the show. So yeah, super excited. So in case you missed it, one more time. This time next week, we will be talking with the legend that is Jordan Rudess about the Bob Moog Foundation raffle. So that's super exciting. And of course, we mustn't forget that you can go and enter the raffle right now. You can go over to the Bob Moog Foundation website. You can win a brand new Moog Mini Moog, with all proceeds going to benefit the Bob Moog Foundation. It has been signed by the legendary Jordan Rudess. And in celebration of Bob's 90th birthday, this will be taking place, and all you got to do is buy a raffle ticket. They are $25 each, 5 for $100, 12 for $200, 35 for $500, and can be purchased via the Bob Moog Foundation website. The winner announced on Friday, June the 21st, 2024. So you've got about 4 weeks to get that in there. Estimated value of $5,000 that instrument, and you could have it for just the cost of one $25 raffle ticket. And it's a gorgeous thing. Look at that. That could be yours.
I'm going to get a ticket, or two, or three, or four.
Absolutely. There it is. Prepare for a sonic adventure, signed by Jordan Rudess himself. So there you go. And the people who hasn't he played with? Bowie, Purple, Steve Wilson, Jan Hammer, Liquid Tension, of course, Dream Theater as well. I could not believe this. Started his studies at Juilliard at the age of 9. What on earth? This man is incredible. There's a great video. In fact, I was going to play it, but we're kind of running out of time. But pop over to the Bob Moog Foundation website, and as you're about to buy your tickets, have a watch of the video. It's very nice, and Jordan's a lovely guy. He's going to be on our show. Yay! Can't wait. That's going to be really cool.
That looks like such a lovely cabinet as well, the wood. Looks really nice.
Nice wood.
Appalachian Mountain Cherry.
So if you have questions for Jordan, get thinking, and then get prepared to throw them into the chat next week. We've only got an hour with him because he's a very busy man. So we've only got like the first hour with him. So please, get your questions in quickly.
How much of that's going to be about cake?
Oh, none of it. Or fish. So, let me think. So the other thing we want to mention is this, because on June the 12th, the ARPS for All program, which is part of the Alan R. Perlman Foundation, is going to be holding an ARP 2500 workshop. There you go, June the 12th. Tickets go on sale on the 28th of May, so that's next week. And they'll be hosting a workshop conducted by, and I tried pronouncing this name before we came on air, Mick Mahusen. I know Dina was in the chat. Maybe she can. Is it Mick Mahusen? Mitch Mahusen? I don't know. I'm sorry, Jim. I'm really sorry if I've messed up your name. But yeah, tickets go on sale on May the 28th, and it's going to take place between 6 and 9:30 Eastern daylight savings time. So there you go. Need to give that a plug. So
is it online as well, or is it just in person?
I don't think it's going to be online. Hopefully it will be. Dina. Mitch Mahuan. There we go. She's just gave me a phonetic explanation of how to pronounce it. Dina, is this going to be online, or is this... it's just in person. Not just in have you, but just in person. So you're going to need to be in the Boston, Massachusetts area.
If you record that, Dina, I would pay to see a recording of that, a video of that. If you want to pop it up and get donations for that, or put it on a Patreon thing, I'm sure plenty of others would as well. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I thought I'd give that a plug, because that's going to be a really cool thing. So we can get hands on with the real 2500. That would be fantastic. So the other thing that I promised I would mention, and here we go. You must remember we had Kim and Mike on when they launched this.
Yes.
So this is the Mini Moog book from Bukes. It is being backed. It's exceeded its goal massively, as you can see there. 1,059 backers already, £70,000 already raised. Spoke to Kim at Superbooth, and I spoke to Kim this afternoon as well. You've got 3 more days to go, because and that's important, not only because the more money they get, the more they can do, and the better they can do it, but also you get this super early bird, or the early bird offer, because the supers have all gone. So you get the book at a discount, but also all the books ordered through this campaign will have a special dust jacket and a limited edition number on there as well. So that's, if you want something that's pretty special, there's 214 left of the early bird version of the book. When you sign up for this, you'll give your credit or debit card details, but the money won't come out until the end. So you'll have a little sort of grace period there. And there's just the regular Kickstarter special as well. But there's 3 more days left to go on this. If you haven't already, this is the time to get this book at a really good price, and a very special version of it as well. Unfortunately, they couldn't get the soft copy previews done in time for Superbooth, so I didn't get to have a look at it. But Mike and Kim were doing their thing, and doing it very well over at the Bukes booth at Superbooth.
And don't forget, this has been 2 years in the making, so although it's
been more than that. 10 years more like.
10 years. That's true, actually, isn't it?
Yeah.
And although it may seem that they broke their initial target of 25 or 26,000, whatever it was, and they've reached 3 times that, they're just about at break even, around about now.
Yes.
It would be good to get even more in, because we want to encourage Kim and all the guys, Mike, all of them, to do more of this. They do such a great job with this.
Absolutely.
So please,
They sold a metric ton of books over last week. They sold loads of the other stuff.
Really?
Yeah, and Mike and Kim were both signing books for people that purchased it. And
good.
Yeah. And there is a special moment when I go past the booth on my walkabout video where Mike says hello in his own inimitable way.
Oh, God. Does he stop saying hello?
No.
Oh.
No. But yeah. So, by the way, Mike's a legend. We love him to bits. I spent a lot of time with Mike, I guess, over those few days. We were out together on Thursday night. We were together on Friday night. We were at the show together, obviously. And then Saturday. I had to tell you about this. We've got a few more minutes. So, Saturday, last day of the show, legs, calf muscles are like piano strings. and I'm absolutely shattered. I've been working off sort of 4 or 5 hours kip, and I think I'm going out for dinner with Mike on Saturday night, and I said to Mike, tell me when you're ready, we'll meet up, we'll go and, well, there's like 3 Vietnamese restaurants just around the corner from the hotel. We'll go to one of those, we'll have a lovely meal, a few drinks, just the 2 of us, in a quiet little restaurant, and that was the plan. Gets to 8 o'clock in the evening, and I'm sat in my hotel room. My stomach is thinking my throat's been cut. I am chomping at the bit. I've gone through all the hotel biscuits. I've even tipped the coffee down my neck. I was that hungry. And Mike had got waylaid at the booth, breaking the booth down after the show. So Mike says, look, I'll come to your hotel, but I probably won't be there for another hour or so. So I said, I'll tell you what, they serve food in my hotel until 10 o'clock at night. I'll go down, this is 9 o'clock, I'll go downstairs, I'll order a pizza or a burger or something, and then when you come in, you get yours, and we'll just have a chinwag, and we can stay open at the bar for a while and what have you. I go downstairs, this is 9 o'clock, the restaurant is packed with old age pensioners. And I go up to the bar and I say,
I wasn't there.
Yeah, I thought, hang on, where's Mike? And I asked for a beer. I said, can I have a beer and can I have a pizza, please? And the bloke says, sorry, kitchen's closed. Sorry? What? Kitchen's what now? The kitchen's closed. But it says on your thing here, the kitchen's open till 10 o'clock. We've had a large party in. The kitchen's closed. I said, that's not my problem. I want a pizza. Sorry, kitchen's closed. And they just shut down. It's just basically, all they would say to me, very sorry, kitchen's closed. Whatever, however I protested. So, proceeded to consume a liquid dinner. Mike turns up. Mike tries his, very schmoozy way of trying to get the kitchen to open, but no, nothing. Not a sausage, literally. Not even a currywurst. Not a thing. So, we ended up in the bar drinking beer and Di Serono with a couple of guys that were at Superbooth, and then Manny shows up, and Hayden, and we just got
all having eaten.
All having nothing. Well, actually no. Manny and Hayden had eaten, and actually the other guys had eaten, but me and Mike hadn't.
No.
And this is a big hotel, big chain hotel. Maybe I should name and show. I left them a nasty review on Expedia.
Quite right.
It's called, yeah. Yeah, so
I see Dr. Mike is in the chat. Mike,
he is.
How are you doing? Mike, I've got to congratulate you, matey, on having this latest camera that you've got. You've got the world's fastest camera, I understand. I know that because I saw a picture of you online, and you'd taken it yourself, and your mouth was shut. So it had to have a really fast shutter for that, didn't it? I mean, wow. So congratulations. I want to see what that model is.
You know what I like about Dr. Metley is he can take it. He can dish it out, but he certainly can take it.
He certainly should be able to. I love him. I adore him.
He sent me some pictures. I forgot to upload them onto the thing. He sent me some pictures because he stayed in Berlin up till Wednesday, I think, wasn't it, Mike? You were there till? Yeah. I was spitting them. It wasn't pleasant.
That's such a good phrase.
But so Mike went on a mission actually on Tuesday, I believe. I'm just going to send these to my computer, and then I'm going to put these up because Mike properly represented. Okay, he represented ProSynth Network, and we are super grateful. Let me just do this. If I do that and go there and click on that. Nothing happens. Oh, there you go. And if I go to the folder there and I choose actually let me choose that one. I might as well choose the whole lot. There we go. This is the last holiday snaps section of the show, okay? But Mike, on I think it was Tuesday that he sent me these. He went on a bit of a recce around Berlin. So Herr Schneider is the guy that has organised Superbooth over the years, and most famous for having a store out there. And he actually now has 3 venues: one that sells mostly modular, one that sells proper synthesizers, and the other one was a workshop. And Mike went on a tour with our T-shirt. So
see?
This is
fastest camera in the world.
Look at that, yeah. And then there he is outside the other Schneider's Laden. So representing in Berlin with the T-shirt, which he was most grateful, and I hope it fitted. That was great.
Well done, Mike.
That is, I've never seen that working. I'm assuming that's a fountain. I've never seen that operating in all my time there. But that's what greets you as you walk up to the main hall area. It's kind of a sign that you've arrived. It's lovely. It's like a landmark. And I have to show you this one because it's such a sweet little photo. So in love. She's lovely. She's fantastic. So there you go. That's it. That's the show. I have a video. It's about an hour long. I've roughly edited together. Over the weekend, I'm gonna sort of fine tune it and maybe put some music on it. I don't know. But it's an hour long. I can't improvise for 5 minutes, let alone an hour. Yeah, I'll just get some Schlager music and just chuck it on or something like that.
Kent do a soundtrack.
Yeah. Or maybe I'll just let my cat walk up and down the PolyBrute keyboard and just record that. Anyway.
Like your last album.
Yeah, indeed. So I will do that video, and then I don't know whether I should. I think I should. I should make that an exclusive Patreon thing for maybe a week or so.
Yeah.
And then we'll stick it out on everywhere else, because it's not like YouTube is lacking in Superbooth videos at the moment. But there we go. So that's it. That's the show. Next week, Jordan Rudess will be here. Do not miss that. We'll be talking about mini Moogs. We'll be talking about Bob Moog Foundation and anything else in between. So get your questions cogitating, and then be ready to throw those in. And that's about it, I believe. I don't think.
What date is that? Is that the 2nd? No.
That's a good question.
30. I don't know what date.
What's 7 days from now? It'll be 31st. Yeah.
31st.
Yeah, 31st, yeah. I had to do the little rhyme in my head to just check there were 31 days. Yeah. But yeah, please do come and join us for that. It'd be fantastic. I don't think I've missed anything else. We spoke about all of those wonderful things. There's just a reminder. I know that everyone probably thinks I'm on a massive Arturia trip at the moment. Yeah, massive one of those.
Sorry.
But my colleagues at Sound, I didn't do this. I actually went to my editor and said, can I do a podcast with Frederick Brune from Arturia? And he said, oh, we've already done one. Oh, no. Bugger. But this is really good. This is about their 25 years, and Frederick's a super guy, really interesting. So if you want to know more about what Arturia have been doing for the 25 years, go and see that. That's it. Bank holiday weekend. It's Memorial Day weekend in the US, so hope everybody has a fantastic one. Are you doing anything special, Andrew, over the weekend?
I've got some editing to do, but tomorrow we're going to try and there's a short window of opportunity tomorrow to get into the garden, so I'm going to go and spend some time in the garden doing some things. Then I'm back in the chair, as it were, on Sunday doing this and a few other bits and pieces. So yeah, I only found out it was a bank holiday about an hour before the show.
Oh, that's good then. Because the
the
best part of a long weekend is the evening before the long weekend, because that's when the weekend is still going to be 3 days. As soon as you get into it, it just gets shorter and shorter. This is the best bit. This is the best bit. What about you, Kent? Have you got anything lined up for this weekend? Apart from cleaning your coffee machine, de-charlieing your coffee machine and vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
Just that?
Yes, I have. There's a couple of bits and pieces I need to do on the Muzzy. What else? Oh, God, I'm supposed to be writing a profile map for the touch digital controller to work with in Posca 3 for my 12 owners out there. I don't know what... I don't know what that... Yeah, I think we sold all 50. There was something else I was supposed to be doing as well. I'm sure Fiona will remind me. Oh, yes. We're going to be programming microcontrollers. We've got 50 microcontrollers to program.
Nice.
So once the software's compiled, that is.
Cool.
So, yeah.
And I will be doing some music as well, by the way. I know, I just remembered.
I'm going to be finishing editing that video and hopefully get that up maybe I'll do a little highlights video as well. Maybe we could share that with everyone and do the long one on the Patreon, and then put the big one on. And I want to spend more time with this because I haven't really spent a huge. Well, I have kind of, but I want to spend more.
Yeah, I want to see your video on that. I want to see that.
Well, yeah,
you could do a live unboxing.
I'm not putting it back in the box.
Oh, all right then.
It's heavy. It's 23 kilos, I think. Massive.
We could get you a synclavier to do that with.
This is why I didn't do the Carvera unboxing.
Yeah.
That's 55 kilos.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I want to play my new drum brute as well, which is a very cool drum machine. So, got to be doing that. And I think that's about it. I was going to be watching the football final, but I'm not now because my team's not in it anymore.
No.
So, but anyway, as far as music technology podcasts and videos are concerned, don't forget our great friend Ramsey over in Australia. On
Synchrotron before that.
Synchrotron, 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, of course. Synchrotron, 10 a.m. UK, doing his thing, and then Ramsey's at 2 p.m. UK time tomorrow. So make sure you go and support those channels. I don't think there's any other live stuff going. You going to be doing the pub over the bank holiday at all?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. Depending on how all the other jobs go.
Sure.
Sure. I've got to get that E2 round the garage as well.
Yeah. Cool.
Because it'll probably rain tonight. So at least it'll go around there clean.
True.
It will.
True.
Be good to play with maybe if you could do something with the Imposca and the DMX, both of those, and some sort of, I don't know, Jam Taba or something. We'll work something out.
So there we go. That's another show. Don't forget, just in case you missed the special announcement and you just rocked up, like Tom from Synth Anatomy, put him in the late book, but it was great to see Tom, by the way. Always have a nice chat with Tom. He was doing a stunning job. If you think that doing this every week is difficult, you try running a music technology news website and going around and doing all those camera, all those shots and everything, and doing the whole website yourself, one person. That's what Tom does. Massive respect to Tom and everything that he does over at Synth Anatomy, and it was great to actually get to spend some time with him. And have a chat. So again, it's when you meet these people in real life, it's fantastic and very rewarding. Anyway, that was a show. Thank you very much. And as I said, don't forget this time next week, or actually in 2 hours before that, we are going to be joined by the one and the only, the legend that is Jordan Rudess. Will be joining us next Friday to talk about all things Bob Moog Foundation Mini Moog raffle. Massive thanks to Michelle for arranging that, and Craig as well. I see Craig in the chat. So we're super excited for that. So don't miss that one, because that's going to be really cool. We've been looking to try and get Jordan on the show for some time, and there we go. We did it, folks. We did it.
Hurrah!
And there we go. That's a show. Have a fantastic long weekend. It's great to see you all, and have a good Memorial Day, bank holiday weekend, whatever it is that you're doing. Just have a wonderful time. See you all next week with Jordan. Bye.